Hello. So, for our case study, our client experienced a lacerated extensor tendon on their long finger from a cat bite. They received surgery where the tendon was repaired in zone 5, right over their MCP, and their surgeon ordered a relative motion orthosis as well as a wrist immobilization to protect the repaired tendon from stress while allowing functional use of their affected hand. The first step to creating a wrist immobilization orthosis is by creating your pattern. A pattern allows us to see how much material we're going to need and helps you envision what this orthosis will look on your specific client, since everyone's anatomy is a little bit different. As you can see through these small little videos, the first step is to place your client palm side down on a paper towel. You want to make sure that their digits are close together and the thumb is slightly abducted. You also want to ensure that their wrist is not radially or ulnarly deviated. After you've traced out their forearm, wrist, and web space, you can start marking anatomical landmarks. An example of these for this specific pattern would be 2/3 down the forearm on both sides of the wrist, the web space, and the PIP joints of the digits. After you've done that, you'll take your pinky and measure 3 pinky widths outside of these landmarks to ensure that you have enough material to go up and around the sides of the wrist. Next, there wasn't a video of this, but you can also mark where your thumb hole is going to be on your paper towel. And after you do that, you're going to transfer your pattern to the thermoplastic material. In this video, you can see that the therapist traced it wider than the paper towel just to really ensure that we had enough material. After the material is traced on the thermoplastic material, you can then heat it up and begin cutting it out slowly. For this orthosis, we decided to use North Coast Preferred. This is a solid non-stick material. It has moderate conformability, which was really helpful in crafting the orthosis because gravity really did a lot of the work for us. It has a moderate rigidity, so it's a very stable material once it is dry and hard. It's a moderate resistance to stretch, which was also very nice to stretch around the wrist, and it was easy to make sure that everything fit perfectly. This material does not have memory, which is helpful in the process of creating them, because if you do make a mistake, you can always reheat the material and start over. It also had an average heating time. As you can see from the videos, the molding process is fairly easy, given that the material does have that moderate conformability. So after you have molded your orthosis and you're happy with what it looks like, you'll most likely have to trim some of the edges and also smooth them out for comfort of your client. After that, all you have to do is start by creating your straps. You'll round out the edges and heat your Velcro and stick them on. And after your straps are secured, you have successfully made a wrist immobilization orthosis. For this client, an ROM was also necessary to avoid overstretching the extensor tendon over that third digit. So for this orthosis, we used Orthotics thermoplastic tape. There is no pattern for relative motion orthosis, but basically you'll heat up the material and fold it into thirds. You want to make sure that the length of the tape is long enough to wrap around all 4 digits. To begin, you'll position the tape over the third metacarpal in relative extension in order to prevent that excessive stretch of the extensor tendon. The orthosis will fit around the second and fourth metacarpals for stability, though leaving all digits uncovered for functional mobility. A clinical consideration for using Orthotics tape is that it does shrink when it gets heated, so it's important to have enough fabric before you start fabrication. Though after you fabricate your orthosis and you heat it to make sure everything is stuck together, you've successfully made an RMO.